Welcome class, myself Professor D.S. Rai, Professor Department of Civil Engineering, BBD, IITM Lucknow. Today we will cover course KCE 076 Urban Transportation Planning, in which we will take up lecture 4 Railway Asset, Role of Transportation in Society, etc. References that I have taken: Chakravarti, Partha and Das Animes, Principle of Transportation Engineering, Papakostas CS and Previdoras PD, Transportation Engineering and Planning, Kadiali LR and Lal NB, Principle and Practices of Highway Engineering, Neptal, and some material have been taken from internet. In lecture 4, the contents of lecture 4 are investment and development, government initiatives, Indian railway future, role of transportation in society, formation of settlements, size and pattern of settlements, growth of urban center, social impact of rural transport, education. First of all, we will take up, we have already covered in previous lecture 3 many part of the railway asset, Indian railway asset. Today, we will continue the railway asset in the same pattern. The Ministry of Railway plan to monetize asset including eastern and western dedicated freight corridor after commissioning induction of 150 modern rates through PPP station redeveloped through PPP, railway land parcels, multifunctional complex, railway colonies, hill railways and stadiums. Indian railway network is growing at a healthy rate. In the next 5 years, Indian railway market will be third largest, accounting for 10% of the global market. Indian Railways, which is one of the country's biggest employer, can generate 1 million jobs. The government has announced 2 key initiatives for seeking private investment running passenger train by private operators across the railway network and redevelopment of railway stations across the country. According to railways, these projects have the potential of bringing an investment of over $7.5 billion in the next 5 years. Adarsh station scheme has been started since 2009-10 and presently railway stations are upgraded and modernized based on identified need of providing better enhanced passenger amenity at a station. Under the scheme, 1253 stations have been identified for development, out of which 1201 stations so far have been developed. The remaining 25 stations are planned to be developed by 2021-22. Indian Railway is also looking at other area of revenue generation, such as the following: change in composition of coaches so that it can push the more profitable AC coach travel. Additional revenue stream by monetizing the traffic on its digital booking IRCTC, and third, de-investing IRCTC. The Indian Railway launched the National Rail Plan Vision 2024 to accelerate implementation of critical projects such as multi-track congested routes, achieve 100% electrification, upgrade the speed to 160 km per hour on the Delhi Howrah and Delhi Mumbai routes, upgrade the speed to 130 km per hour on all other golden quadrilateral, golden diagonal, GQ, GD. This is the most prestigious scheme of the government railway ministry, and sorry, eliminate all level crossing on the GQ GD routes by 2024. Transportation is non-separatable part of any society. It exhibits a very close relation to the style of life, the range and location of activities, and goods and services which will be available after consumption. Advances in transportation has made possible changes in the way of living and the way in which society are organized, and therefore have a great influence in the development of civilization. As we know, the development of civilization based on transportation. Earlier, the people were living in a forest. When the population of the ancient people grew more, then it is required more forest for hunting and getting foods for their kabila. But as area increased, they needed something by which they could collect the fruits or animals they have hunted. So, in this way, the requirement of transportation was essential at that time. After fire and food, transportation was the main object to develop the society. So, transportation is the primary things required for development of society or to make the society happy. It exhibits a very close relation to the style of life, range and location of activity, and goods and services which will be available for the consumption. Advances in transportation has made possible changes in the way of living and the way in which society are organized, and therefore have a great influence in the development of civilization. As I have told earlier, the transportation is responsible for the development of civilization from very old time by meeting travel requirement of the people and transport requirement of goods. Such movement has changed the way of people life and travel. In developed and developing nations, a large fraction of people travel daily for work, shopping and social reasons. Transport can consume a lot of resources like time, fuel, material and land. The role of transportation in society, transportation has always played an important role in influencing the formation of urban society. Although other facilities like availability of food and water played a major role, the contribution of transportation can be seen clearly from the formation, size and pattern and the development of society, especially in the urban area. Formation of settlements. For beginning of civilization, the man is living in settlements which exist near the bank of the major river, junction, a port and intersection of trade routes. As we know, in early days the mode of transportation for a longer distance was waterway by boat or sea routes nearby the bank. So, where there was a provision of transportation at the junction of the river or the seashore, that became the important point for the development. Earlier it was not so developed, but later on the city grew more and more and finally it became a big city. We can say a city like New York, city like Moscow, even in India city like Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, these are the cities, they were developed near the seashore. Even on the bank of a major river like a Ganges, we can say the Haridwar, Kanpur, Prayagraj, Varanasi, Patna and so on. Many cities were developed due to its transportation in waterway. They are the good example of the transportation. Even a intersection of a trade route like Silk Road from China to Afghanistan, Iran, this made the entire route, that is called a Silk Route, from where silk had been transported from China to the other country. So, nearby the Silk Route, many cities were developed during that period due to transportation. The initial settlement were relatively a small development, but with due course of time they grew in population and developed into big city and major trade center. The size of settlement is not only limited by the size of the area by which settlement can be obtained food and other necessity, but also be consideration of personal travels, especially the journey to and from work. The increased speed of transport and a reduction in the cost of transport have resulted in variety of spatial pattern. When the city grew beyond the normal walking distance, then transportation technologies play a role in formation of the cities. For example, many cities in the plain developed as a circular city with radial routes. When the city were developed nearby the major trade route, the city grew in a circular pattern and the transportation system was radial, because it was necessary. At the time, the people would like to reach the trade center as quick as possible. So, the development of the major trade center was developed and the development of other cities were on the periphery of the central trade center. But like seashore, where the shore is in the linear direction. So, where the development were made along the linear direction of the seashore. So, the development were in linear direction at the seashore, like Mumbai, like Chennai, like Kolkata. The development of automobile and other factors like increase in personal income and construction of paved road network, the settlement were transformed into the urban center of intense travel activity. The main effect of rural transport development is to bring the market to the rural population. As we know, nearly 70% of the population are now living in the rural area. Even after development of the city, the country will not develop, or you can we will say, we cannot say the developed country without development of the rural area. So, in the city there are many schemes have been launched by state governments and central government for the construction of the transportation system, like road, like metro, like ferries, or many daily transportation, daily train system, bus system. bus transit system. So, government has planned many things for the transportation development of transportation system in the urban area, but majority of populations are still living in the urban area, in rural area, where the transportation networks are required for the development of the society. So, government has launched nearly in 2001 a Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana for the development of transportation system in the rural area. Many state government have also launched many schemes to connect the rural areas, means connection of habitations in the rural areas. Apart from this, different system of transportation like railway network have been increased, bus system have been increased to develop the rural areas. This will fairly facilitate access to the education and health facilities, because most of the school, college, universities, medical college, good hospitals are located in the urban area. So, people or rural people wants to shift from the rural area to the urban area, or they want to shift their children for education in the urban area, or if the road network or transportation system is quite okay, then up to 50 kilometer or even 100 kilometers a student will come in the urban area for the study and then go back after the completion of the classes. Like hospital also, people, if good hospital is located in 50 kilometers, people will come in the urban area for the treatment and then they will go back in the same day. However, by making goods more easily available, it may cut down the comparative advantage achieved if the village are trade solely among one another. It should be borne in the mind that the greater involvement in the cash economy is not necessarily uniform beneficial to the rural livelihoods. One is aspect of social aspect is education. Attendance level at school and college are affected by lack of access to school and college, both for the student and for the teacher. Suppose there is a road which has been cut during rainy season, the attendance of teacher and the student will go down, because there is no proper transportation system available from their house to the urban areas. The study area was a 50 kilometers road linking two regional centers, one of which has a good hospital. So, the people would like to go there for their treatment. Analysis of the purpose of the people's use of the road showed robust correlation between the income and the journey frequency, except in the case of health. If the people will have lesser money, they will travel less. When there is a more income, then the people will travel more and more for a small things are required by them. Better road also increase the ease of use of mobile health center. This can be done. Access to the basic facility can often be made easier by improving path or water crossing which already exist, which these are close to the rural population. Intermediate means of transport such as bicycle carts, which can be used for rural path, are often a useful means to eliminate the length of travel time for the basic needs. Transport planning in this area should take into account the possible benefit of locating and source of basic need nearer to the people benefiting from it. Empowerment, this is a big thing happen in the society due to transportation. Most research support the decentralization of development, including both planning, responsibility and implementation. As an example, in the later context, using labor based construction method for the road development has a many advantages. This can provide a useful cash supplement to the income of local employees. However, it does involve training in the necessary technical skills and knowledge for such a simple measure as a construction steps and handrail on the steep path, and the local population over a long period of time, typically several years, to enable them to take full part. So, now I am ending today lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you.